Why Kris Jenner's marriages were weird. Why did Kris ruin her marriage with Robert Kardashian? Did Caitlyn Jenner ever truly love her? And will Kris end up marrying Corey Gamble? From bed to bed. Anyone who knows the Kardashians knows that Kris Jenner's marriages have been quite a roller coaster. From gold-digging rumors to cheating allegations, this mom has definitely had some of the weirdest marriages of all time. What many fans may not know is that before Kris's marriages even began, she had a childhood sweetheart, professional golfer Cesar Sanudo. At the time, Kris was only 17 and Cesar was 27, a crazy 10 years older than her. People wondered why Kris would ever go for someone so old and started speculating that she was after the professional golfer's money. But he insisted that he loved her and actually proposed to her. And this is where things got a little sticky. Kris met ex-husband and lawyer Robert Kardashian at a race course one day, and the pair had an instant connection. Rob actually managed to persuade Kris to go on a date with him while her former fiancé was out of town. Kris figured that there was no harm in seeing how things played out, and brought the businessman back home with her for more than a nightcap. As they were in the middle of things, Cesar arrived home earlier than expected and saw everything. Though Kris felt bad, her guilt wasn't enough to keep her away from Rob. In the wake of her affair, the pair just continued to date and tied the knot a few years later. Literally sounds like a soap opera. On Keeping Up with the Kardashians, after finding out the news of her mom's infidelity, daughter Khloe said, "Oh my gosh, you're such a whore. Now I know where I get it from." Ouch. So Kris and Robert's relationship was weirdly built on the backbone of a major cheating scandal. But the real question is, why did Kris cheat on her sweet former boyfriend, and why did Robert Kardashian seem to not care that she had another man? In his new book, Kardashian, An American Drama, New York Times bestselling author Jerry Oppenheimer dishes the dirt on Kris and reveals how she went from a golf groupie to a multimillionaire. The book also includes scandalous details about Kris's many affairs and interviews from the men and women who caught her in the act. A childhood friend of Kris revealed that from a young age, her mom, Mary Jo Shannon, trained her in the act of seduction. Old buddies claimed, "The way I knew Kris, she was a good person, and then something happened." I don't want to use a bad term, but I think her mom started pimping her out when she was in the 11th grade. This may actually explain why Kris's mom married a rich businessman after divorcing her husband when Kris was just 7 years old. By the time Kris was 16, she was spending her weekends with her lavish mom in Rancho La Costa, where she learned how to interact with rich golfers and older men. And, well, the rest was history. Sources go as far as saying that the reason why Kris and Rob's marriage was weird is because she had him under some sort of seductive spell, to the point where he even turned a blind eye to her running him dry. I ain't saying she a gold digger. So, did Kris and Rob live happily ever after? Sadly, not. Even though the couple appeared to be very loved up on the outside, Kris was enjoying Rob's money a little too much. Recently, after the pair got married, Kris spent $3,000 of Rob's money on a belt, without batting an eyelid, and boy was he furious. These belts soon turned into operations, as in plastic surgery from head to toe, including a crazy boob job, and this is where Kris turned even wilder. Sources said, Kris would tell Robert, "I need to go out. I need to have fun." She was coming home at 2 and 3 in the morning, drunk, and she would tell Robert, "I have 4 kids and I have not lived life." Kris then attended church with Robert's pastor, Ken Gullickson, who had doubts about the marriage and questioned why Kris even chose to marry Rob in the first place, saying, "I sensed that Kris saw in Bob a kind of gold mine. Robert was a very generous man, and that was good for Kris." I mean, was he saying she's a gold digger? Well, we'll let the facts speak for themselves. After her daughters Kourtney and Kim were born, in 1979 and 1980, the family moved into a 7,000 square foot estate in the most prestigious section of Beverly Hills, complete with tennis courts and a duck-shaped swimming pool. The home literally became party central, and this is when Kris's American dream lifestyle really began. Of course, off the back of Rob's money. This was also when Kris allegedly began seeing a soccer player, Todd Waterman, and introducing him as her boyfriend at parties. What's more bizarre is that she was paying his bills with Robert's money. Waterman even recalled that at a young age, Khloe would go with him on dates, telling sources that she'd innocently be watching them in the backseat of the car. But soon enough, Robert caught Waterman and Kris 3 different times. Kris confessed in her 2011 memoir that upon finding them together in Waterman's car one time, Robert jumped out of his Mercedes with a golf club in his hand. "He took a swing and whacked the back of my car," said Waterman. Kris told him to keep driving, Robert might have a gun in the car. Whoa, hold up. So this seemingly perfect marriage turned into an almost criminal act very quickly. Kris's alleged gold-digging ways, party lifestyle, and the passionate romances were being revealed to everyone. The cracks were starting to show. Even close friends of Kris were telling tabloids that her only ambition was to climb the ladder, try to find somebody who was going to get her where she needed to be, wherever that was. Robert eventually divorced Kris in 1991 after finding out about the affair, a few years before the O.J. Simpson murder trial that put the Kardashians on the map for good. Fans had reason to believe that the divorce had to happen because Kris's money-thieving ways were just too much to handle, as she was also accused of stealing $30,000 from ex-boyfriend Caesar. From broke to rich. Again. So the ending of one very weird marriage led to another, even weirder one. Following the split from Rob, Kris hit a really low point and referred to it as one of the biggest regrets in her life because it broke up her family. Of course, Kris felt so bad because she probably regretted cheating. Again. But the phrase, "how you get them is how you lose them," never grows old. Even though Rob turned a blind eye to his credit cards being run dry, he was not one to mess when it came to infidelity. After splitting with Kris, he cut off all her credit cards and left her with no money. In an interview with In Charge, the momager confessed that, "I didn't know what to do. I had 4 kids, I was single, I didn't know where I was going to live, I didn't know how I was going to make a living. It was the scariest time to be that young." By this time, Kris already had the 4 famous Kardashians that we all know and love: Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, and Rob, and was just 32 years old. So what was the solution? Finding another husband, of course. Kris's friends set her up on a blind date with none other than Caitlyn Jenner. The pair started dating for about 5 months before getting married and having the 2 famous Jenners, makeup mogul Kylie and supermodel Kendall. What's weird about this marriage is that there were no allegations against Kris using Caitlyn for her money this time around. In fact, Caitlyn only had $200 in the bank when she got with Kris, and Kris vowed to better her career. Fans questioned why Kris would even consider going for Caitlyn, but Kris always has a backup plan. After Robert Kardashian's passing in 2003 due to cancer, the businessman left his children a whole lot of assets. By assets, we mean a $100 million estate in trust. The teen Kardashian clan literally didn't even know what to do with the money, but Kris definitely did. Kris started managing Caitlyn's career and booked her regular gigs as a motivational speaker, hoping to make more money. That's how Kris earned the famous momager skills that she now has. In 2007, someone recommended her to give reality TV a try, and Keeping Up with the Kardashians was birthed. The rest was history. So, Kris managed to go from broke to rich again, and didn't actually use Caitlyn to do so. Well, she tried, but she didn't really have the wow factor that the Kardashian kids have. Turning a blind eye? Fans question why Kris never realized that Caitlyn wanted to become a woman throughout the whole 23 years of their marriage together, especially because after his first wife, Christy Crownover, left him, he stayed for a while at the Playboy Mansion. Sources were saying that she became like one of the bunnies. One night she's boogieing in a tux with the girls at a dress-up party, and the next night she'd be like one of the girls and all dressed up. Makeup, hosiery, high heels, the whole 9 yards. Kris also confessed that at the beginning of her marriage, Caitlyn told her that she had done hormone conversion back in the 80s. But Kris thought nothing of it and never asked her how she felt or what this meant. But the truth is, we will never know. Maybe Kris chose security over the fear of having to be a single parent again. Or maybe she was too distracted by her money-making show to pay attention. Both ways, she was distraught by her second divorce. In a joint statement to E! News, Caitlyn and Kris said, "We are living separately and we are much happier this way, but we will always have much love and respect for each other. Even though we are separated, we will always remain best friends. And as always, our family will remain our #1 priority." But that wasn't quite true. In a later interview with Vanity Fair in June 2015, where Caitlyn made her first appearance as herself, she had some pretty mean words to say to Kris, telling interviewers, "I think in a lot of ways, Kris became less tolerant of me. Then I'd get upset, and the whole relationship kind of fizzled." Caitlyn even confessed that their marriage breakdown was 20% gender and 80% was the way I was treated. Ouch! That's a very tough pill to swallow. What was Kris's response? "Fuck you! I wish I'd never met you," to be exact. It looks like this manager's past sins came back to haunt her, and we can't help but feel sorry for her, considering that she had some pretty devastating marriages and a very weird upbringing. Is marriage on the cards? While finalizing her divorce with Caitlyn, Kris met her current boyfriend and tour promoter Corey Gamble at a Kanye party in 2014, and the two immediately clicked. What may be a little disturbing about this is the fact that Corey is actually Kim's age, and is a crazy 25 years younger than Kris. But then again, she never grows old, right? Corey soon made his debut on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and Kim even confessed to hearing her mom getting jiggy with Corey one morning. Old habits die hard. But fans can't help but question whether Kris really loves Corey, or whether she's just using him because she, well, doesn't want to be alone. A family friend told The Sun that the 64-year-old momager vowed to stay single, expressing that Kris is still with Corey, but she's not engaged and they won't get engaged. She will never get married again. This works for her. I mean, why would she need to, considering that she's now made it to the top as a millionaire and has a huge family legacy? Still, the fact that Kris doesn't want another marriage is pretty weird because the star has always been the marriage type. Is Kris using Corey to pass the time, or is there some type of real connection here? Let us know what you think in the comments.